The first time Commander Viral of the Thalrex Dominion met a human, she expected simplicity. 1 or 2 tricks. A clever tactic, perhaps. A bit of stubborn resistance. Maybe even a flash of bravery. But nothing more. Certainly not 99. The Dominion warship Iridial Spear drifted silently above the fractured remains of Outpost K-77, its hull reflecting the distant glow of a dying star. Debris fields spun lazily in orbit, twisted metal, broken satellites, and the remnants of what had once been a human research station. Commander Viral stood on the bridge, tall and composed, her iridescent skin shifting hues with her mood, a trait common among her species. At the moment, she shimmered in cool blues and soft silvers, the colors of calm calculation. "Report," she said. A subordinate stepped forward. "Outpost defenses neutralized. Survivors minimal. Scans indicate a single human life form remaining within the lower engineering sector." 1. Viral echoed. "Yes, Commander." She considered that. 1 human. The Dominion had studied humans extensively over the past cycles. Primitive compared to galactic standards. Resourceful, yes, but erratic. Unpredictable in small ways, but ultimately limited. 1 human posed no real threat. "Send a retrieval team," she ordered. "I will conduct the interrogation personally." Elias Ward wiped grease from his hands and stared at the cracked display panel in front of him. Power, 12%. Structural integrity, failing. Atmosphere, unstable. "Yeah," he muttered. "Not great." The outpost was dying, and he was the only one left alive. Not that he planned to stay that way. Above him, he could feel it, the presence of the alien warship. Heavy, watching, waiting. He'd seen their kind before. Efficient, cold, confident. Too confident. Elias smiled faintly. "Good," he said under his breath. "That'll help." They found him exactly where the scans predicted. Sitting calmly in the engineering bay, surrounded by flickering consoles and sparking conduits, as if he'd been expecting them. Which, of course, he had. The Dominion soldiers raised their weapons. "Do not move," one of them commanded. Elias raised his hands lazily. Wasn't planning to. He didn't look afraid. That was the first thing they noticed. Commander Viral entered the chamber moments later. Her presence was commanding, her form taller than any human's, her movements precise and deliberate. Her eyes, sharp, multifaceted, locked onto Elias immediately. "You are the last survivor," she said. Elias nodded. "Looks like it. You do not appear distressed." He shrugged. "I've had worse days." Viral studied him. There was something off. Not in his posture. Not in his tone. In his stillness. Humans were rarely this composed under threat. "State your designation," she said. "Elias Ward, Senior Systems Engineer." Her gaze flicked briefly to the surrounding machinery. "Then you understand that this station is beyond saving." "Yep. And yet you remain." Elias smiled slightly. "Yeah," he said. "Funny thing about that. The first explosion happened 12 seconds later. It came from the upper decks, a sharp, concussive blast that rippled through the station's structure. Alarms screamed. The Dominion soldiers stiffened. "What was that?" one demanded. Elias tilted his head, listening. "That," he said. "That's Plan 1. Viral's eyes narrowed. "Explain." Elias leaned back casually against the console. "You said 1 human," he said. "So I figured you'd only expect 1 or 2 problems." Another explosion rocked the station, this one closer. Lights flickered. Gravity stuttered. "But humans," Elias continued, "we don't do just 1 or 2. He looked up at her, his smile widening. "I set 99. Chaos erupted. The Dominion soldiers moved instantly, scanning for threats, trying to regain control, but the station itself had turned against them. Bulkheads slammed shut. Corridors depressurized. Systems began failing in cascading sequences. "What have you done?" Viral demanded. Elias pushed off the console and stepped back. "Nothing complicated," he said. "Just a few contingency measures." A third explosion tore through the station. "Okay," he amended. 99 contingency measures. Viral reacted instantly. "Secure the human," she ordered. But Elias was already moving. He ducked behind a sparking conduit as energy fire scorched the air where he'd been standing moments before. "You're fast," he called out. "I like that." Another explosion, this time below them. The floor trembled. "You will not escape," Viral said, advancing. Elias grinned. "Escape?" he said. "Who said anything about escaping?" He slammed his hand against a control panel. The room plunged into darkness. Emergency lighting flickered on seconds later, but Elias was gone. "He cannot have gone far," one soldier said. "Seal all exits," Viral ordered. "Track him." But even as she spoke, the station groaned again. Another detonation. Then another. The pattern was irregular, unpredictable. It wasn't random. It was designed. "He is controlling the sequence," Viral realized. "But how?" her subordinate asked. "The system is collapsing." Viral's colors shifted, blues giving way to sharper, more volatile hues. "He is not controlling the system," she said slowly. "He is anticipating it." Elias sprinted through the dim corridors, his boots pounding against the metal floor. Behind him, the station tore itself apart exactly as he'd planned. Not all at once. That would have been inefficient. No, this was layered. Each plan triggered another. Each failure created a new opportunity. "Plan 7 down," he muttered, glancing at a handheld device. "Plan 8 coming up." A door ahead of him slammed shut. Elias skidded to a stop. "Okay," he said. "Didn't account for that." He pulled out a small tool, pried open a panel, and rewired the locking mechanism in seconds. The door hissed open. "Plan 8, he said, grinning. "Adapt." Back on the bridge of the iridial sphere, alarms were beginning to trigger. "Commander," a technician reported, "the station is destabilizing beyond projected parameters. The human is causing systemic collapse at an exponential rate." Viral's expression darkened. "One human," she murmured. "Yes, Commander." Her gaze hardened. "Then why does it feel like we are facing an army?" Elias reached the central reactor chamber just as another explosion rippled through the station. "Plan 22, he said, checking his device. "Nice." He crouched beside the reactor core, pulling open a maintenance panel. This was the big one. The finale. But not yet. Timing mattered. Everything mattered. That was the difference. Aliens planned for control. Humans planned for chaos. And chaos, when shaped correctly, became a weapon. Viral found him there, standing at the heart of the station, illuminated by the unstable glow of the reactor. "Enough," she said. Elias turned. "Hey," he said. "You made it." Her soldiers fanned out behind her, weapons ready. "You have caused significant disruption," she said. "But it ends now." Elias tilted his head. "Does it?" He tapped his device. Another explosion, closer this time. The chamber shook violently. "What number was that?" Viral demanded. Elias smiled. 46. Her eyes widened, just slightly. "You are only halfway through," she realized. "More or less." For the first time, Viral felt something unfamiliar. Not fear, but uncertainty. "You would destroy your own station," she said. "To stop us?" Elias shrugged. "It was already gone," he said. I just made sure it went out on my terms. Another explosion. The reactor flickered. 51, Elias said. Viral stepped forward. You cannot win, she said. You are one individual. Elias met her gaze. Yeah, he said. That's the part you don't get. He pressed another control. The floor beneath them shifted. A section collapsed, separating Viral from half her soldiers. 59, Elias said. Bluster fire erupted. Elias dove behind the reactor housing. You rely on numbers, he called out. Ships, soldiers, firepower. Another explosion. 63. He popped up briefly, throwing a small device across the room. It detonated in a burst of electromagnetic interference, disrupting their weapons. But humans, he continued, ducking back down. We rely on options. Viral advanced through the chaos, her movements precise despite the instability. You are improvising, she said. Elias laughed. No, he said. I'm executing. Another blast. 71. The reactor core began to overload. Warnings blared. You are going to destroy everything, Viral said. Elias stepped out from cover. Yeah, he said. That's Plan 99. Silence fell between them, broken only by the rising whine of the reactor. You would sacrifice yourself, Viral said. Elias shrugged. Maybe, he said. Depends. On what? He smiled. On whether you've figured it out yet. Viral's mind raced. 99 plans. Layered. Interconnected. Not just destruction, possibilities. Her eyes widened. You have an escape, she said. Elias's smile widened. Now you're thinking like a human. The final explosions began. Not random. Precise. The station tore itself apart in a controlled cascade, forcing Viral and her remaining soldiers back toward the exit corridors. You cannot survive this, she said. Elias stepped backward toward a maintenance shaft. Good thing I don't plan to, he said. He paused, then added, at least not here. Viral lunged forward, too late. Elias dropped into the shaft and vanished. Minutes later, the iridial sphere pulled back as Outpost K-77 detonated in a brilliant cascade of fire and debris. The station was gone. Completely. Commander Viral stood on the bridge, watching the aftermath. One human, she said softly. Her subordinate hesitated. Yes, Commander. She was silent for a long moment. Then, no, she said. Not one. Days later, in a distant sector, a small escape pod drifted silently through space. Inside, Elias Ward stretched and yawned. Plan 99, he muttered. Still my favorite. He checked the pod systems. Stable. Safe. Alive. He smiled. Yeah, he said. That worked. Back on the Dominion flagship, Viral reviewed the data one final time. 99 separate contingencies. Each one simple. Each one manageable. But together? Overwhelming. She closed the report. Humans, she said quietly. Her colors shifted. No longer calm blues, but something more complex. Respect. Next time, she added, we plan for 99. And somewhere in the vast darkness of space, a single human drifted onward, already thinking about the next plan. Because for Elias Ward, there was always another.